students, today we are going to see topics like equipotential surface, relation between E and V, potential energy, electric potential energy, something about area vector, and about something about electric flux. So let's start with what is equipotential surface. Let's look at the definition. An equipotential surface is that at every point of which electric potential is the same. What it means is, let's consider a surface, and on that surface, if we consider 2 points, I will find potential at point A something and potential point at B something, and both should be same. Then we can call this surface as equipotential surface. Let us try to understand it better. We generally know by definition the potential difference between point A and point B. It is nothing but the work done to move a unit charge from point A to point B, which is expressed in this form: VB minus VA is equal to work done to move a charge from A to B, right? If this is an equipotential surface, in that case VB will be equal to VA, right? So let's use this here, then it becomes 0, which means that there is no work done to move a charge from point A to B on an equipotential surface, right? If that is the case, then again by definition we can write small work done to move a charge from point A to B, that is a distance dl, is given by EDL, E dot dl. Then I can write this as EDL cos theta, okay, is dW. Since the work done on an equipotential surface is 0, so I can write EDL cos theta 0. By here, then cos theta value, in that case cos theta, these two cannot be 0, so cos theta can be 0 if theta is 90 degree. What does it say? It says that the electric field intensity and the length over which the charge travel is 90 degrees. So this you can see here, always the electric field intensity will be perpendicular to the equipotential surface. That is what this angle means. So here I can write E perpendicular to dl, perpendicular to equipotential surface. Right. If we consider a point charge, you can see here in the space, then the equipotential surfaces around it would be like concentric spheres. You can see here, all these are concentric spheres, and all the centers is somewhere here. There the point charge lies, right? And the other way of understanding, let us consider parallel electric field lines which are equidistant. Then the equipotential surface will be the parallel planes over which these electric lines are passing normally. So these will be the equipotential surfaces, right? Friends, now we'll try to understand the relation between E and V, electric field intensity and potential, right? So let us consider a family or a series of electric potential equipotential surfaces. You can see here, all these are equipotential surfaces. Let us say the potential difference between those surfaces is around dV, and you can see here electric field intensity perpendicular to the equipotential surface. Let us consider a point P, and let us place a test charge Q0 at point P, and let us say this charge is displaced by an amount of dr in this angle. Then work done in moving a test charge against the field will be minus W. If it is in the direction of the field, it is W, but if we do any work against the field, we would mention that with a minus. So minus W is equal to Q naught, that is a test charge, into dV, the potential difference between these two. So we are in the assumption that we are moving a test charge from one equipotential surface to another, and we are displacing it by distance dr. So we started with this. Now I can write this further as W is equal to minus Q naught dV. Let us consider this as equation 1. Same work done can also be written as W is equal to force into displacement. F, displacement is dr, the electrostatic force is F. Then we can write this as Q naught E, that is dr. Then further this can be written as E dr cos theta. Right. Now this is equation 2. Equating 1 and 2 we get equating 1 and 2 we are going to get Q naught get cancelled, then we have a relation E cos theta is equal to minus dV by dr. So we got this equation E cos theta is equal to dV by dr minus dV by dr. So you can see E cos theta is component of E along R. Okay, right. So this can be written as ER is equal to minus dou V by dou R. You can see here I change this to partial derivatives. The symbol of partial derivatives represents that the variation of potential along a particular axis and electric field in that particular axis, right? So this can be generalized again for all the axes, x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. I can write this equation in this way. So all these three generally can be written as E is equal to minus dV by dr. What it means is electric field intensity is negative rate of change of potential with respect to the distance travelled in that particular direction. That is what the relation between E and V. E is equal to minus dV by dr. Right. Friends, now we are going to learn about electric potential energy. First I will start with the definition. The electric potential energy of a system of point charges is the total amount of work done in bringing the various charges to their respective positions from infinitely large mutual separation. So here we can see I have considered a system of 2 point charges. One is Q1, other is Q2. Let's say these two are very far away at a distance infinity. When they are at infinity, they don't exert or influence each other by their electric fields, right? That means when I move one charge with respect to other, there is no work done really, because they are not influenced by the electric field of others, right? But let us say one electric charge has come almost to the vicinity of the electric field, and then I started moving. Then the work counts. Whatever work is done, that is nothing but potential, right? Now let us consider as a system of 2 point charges, Q1 at a position P1, point P1, whose radius, whose vector is, position vector is R1. Let us say there is one more point charge that is Q2, that is at infinity. I would like to bring the charge Q2 to position P2 from infinity, right? First we'll see electric potential at P2 due to Q1. Okay. At this point, what is the electric potential due to charge Q1? So that according to the definition, we go 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1. The distance is R12. You can see here the distance between these 2 points is R12. Then work done in carrying Q2 from infinity to P2 is nothing but potential into charge. So potential is already 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. This is Q1 R12 into the charge which we are bringing, that is Q2. So now you can see whatever work we are doing to bring this Q2 from infinity to point P2, that is nothing but the potential energy of this system of these two charges. So this W is written as, this work done is nothing but the potential, electric potential energy, which is given by 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R12. Right. So this is the expression for electric potential energy. Let me tell you the units of electric potential energy. It is different from electric potential. Units of electric potential energy is joule. Units, it's joule. Sometimes it is mentioned in electron volts. So you should understand the relation between electron volts, and 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joule. Right. Hope you understood about electric. Friends, now we will learn about area. Area generally we consider it as scalar, but in some problems we have to consider it as vector. How? Let us consider this is the area element, and then it has got two faces. If we are talking about the above face, that means it is facing upwards. So I can give a direction to the upward surface perpendicular to that area. You can see here, this is the unit vector, n is the unit vector, n cap is the unit vector, perpendicularly upward direction. So the area vector can be represented with ds bar, which is given as n cap ds. ds is the magnitude of this area element, and its direction is given by the n cap. Now this is generally particularly used where there are issues with the direction of the area. Like in future we are going to learn about electric flux, so there it's very important, or we are going to learn about Gauss theorems, so there also it is very important. So that is the reason in this lesson we consider area as a vector, right? Now we learn about the electric flux. So in 10th class you have learned about magnetic flux or electric flux. Similarly, we are going to learn here the definition. It is represented with phi E, electric flux. This is electric flux over an area in an electric field represents the total number of electric field lines crossing this area. Look at this figure, you can understand it easily. This is the area. Let us consider an area, and through this area you can see some electric field lines are passing, right? These are the electric field lines. So the definition says the total number of electric lines crossing this area, that is what we call as electric flux. So let us try to give a small expression to this electric flux. So for that, what we do, we consider a small area element, that is ds, and you can see the electric field lines this way. I have drawn an area vector n cap, the direction, perpendicular direction of this area is this way. There is an angle between electric field intensity and the area vector, theta, right? So I can write the flux as the product of the area element and the component of the electric field E cos theta. So flux is nothing but the product of the area element and the component of electric field which is normal to the area, right? So I can write that as EDS cos theta. So finally the expression is E dot ds, dot product of electric field intensity and the area element. Fine. That is just fine. Now what we do for better understanding, we'll consider a closed surface. We'll consider some volume in the space and which is randomly in the shape. So if I want now, let us say electric field is passing in this direction, this way. I would like to calculate what is the total electric flux passing through this area. Then what I have to do? I have to consider small area elements. I would calculate the flux for each element and then I add up. Then I get the total electric flux. But in doing this, so I should ensure that through that element, through that small area element, the electric flux should be uniform. Then only I can calculate, because if there are two directions of two electric lines going in different directions, then I cannot calculate the flux. So through a particular area, electric field line should go in a single direction. For that, what we got to do, we have to consider very small elements. Have a look at this. Let us say if there is a electric field which is not uniform. In that case, if you are calculating electric flux, if you consider big area, you can see here electric field intensity direction is in this way as well as this way at this point. So it becomes very difficult to consider calculate the flux passing through this. But if you take small area elements, then through that you can see the electric field lines are passing only through single direction. Here also you can see single direction. So it is uniform. So to calculate flux from a given area element, it should be uniform electric field. So ds should be 0. It tends to 0. In such case, this expression which gave earlier, the addition of EDS, so that will be converting into surface integral of EDS. You can see here the circle, what it means. It means that we are adding all the small area elements over the closed surface. So since we are taking very small area elements which tends to 0, so we can write this expression surface integration of E dot ds. Right. Let's go into the units. E, electric field intensity units are Newton per Coulomb, and area is meter square. So these are the units.